Welcome back to Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, anime review episode number 23. Yeah, I'm going to do basically two straight videos for this one because episode 11 came out too. Oh well, for the season anyways. This episode discussing the 55th episode of the series, 54th, excuse me, which is known as The Iruma I Know. This episode pretty much covers chapters 116, 117, and almost the entirety of chapter 128, 118, the first 70 pages. In the case of this episode, we kind of pick up where we left off last time with Iruma. Well, first, we give a recap of everybody's points. And we see that Alice and Sabaru basically are just making peace with the Dell brothers. And looks like they're fighting again. And that's it for them the whole episode. That one brief bit. Meanwhile, though, in the case of Iruma and Lee, and then, of course, they basically need to get points. So, basically look for this mysterious Leaf. And, of course, they go to Callie for help. Thanks to Leaf's control ability, they find her pretty quickly. Thanks to Armand, okay. And, of course, you have to do a dance. To get this information, you basically give a return, okay, give food, you can have creature for that. So they put on these dresses, do a dem doll dance, and apparently Callie's so happy the fact she is. And eventually the animals there give them the correct info, and, well, they go off to make the actual thing. And that's it for them. Seriously. By the way, that whole bit I just talked about, that's literally 2 chapters. And it takes up half the episode. Yes, 50% of the episode takes up 2 chapters. The rest of the episode is all the students are going to quit on day 2. And we see they need more help. So Amari makes the return to the season. First time she's been seen to the second episode of this very seat since I think the last time she was seen was at the very start of this very arc. Yes. Which is back episode 48. So it's been at this point about roughly 6 episodes since she was last seen. Not very long. She has some students. Then she goes back to a tent where the former competitors are basically betting. And it turns out this actually was started by 2 students who actually retired from the competition. 2 students missed the class. The one who used control ability. The one who worked, one of the partners in this whole competition. One of them who had to wear a mask. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they decided to wear masks. They just did. And in case you're curious, though, that has nothing to do with COVID-19. Nothing. That would just something happen in the manga. Yep. Yeah, and of course they're eating noodles. And that's the episode. No, seriously. That is... Oh, by the way, in the case of Amari, she's talking to one of her members from the student council where... She talks, thinks, oh yeah, you like Iruma, don't you? Yeah, obviously hints to the fact that she's in love with Iruma, a guy who's 1 year younger than she is, and shorter than she is. It's oh, you just admire, yeah. I mean, yeah, anybody could tell the fact she's in love with Iruma, and Iruma is kind of oblivious to it at this point. He might be onto it later on. And of course, she fantasizes things as a romance novel they could do a constant reading of, which Iruma told her at the very start of this competition, even before the special training, that he would not be able to do any more readings at the moment until this is over. And she, from what I could tell, had no from what I could tell early, if you watch the first season of the show, they had this is a thing they had in the show where they read this romance manga that apparently here's the thing, in the manga of this series, Iruma said he was a fan. In the anime, they changed to where he was one of the editors. So you knew exactly what the series was. And I'm when I saw that change, I remember this very well. Because it was actually just, I think it was a couple years ago, I think, at this point. Because I watched the series originally in 2011. When I first started it. And I still have an opinion. That's actually okay change. I don't think anybody who read the manga have a problem with the fact that Iruma was basically a fan to an editor. An editor probably knows more about the manga than a fan does. That's probably true. And the case of the season, so far, it's pretty good so far. I mean, not really much changes, much at all. They do stop at the strange points for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but I'm enjoying the series. This is personally, my opinion, one of the underrated series I cover because, yeah, people know about One Piece, people know about Baruto, My Hero Academia. Those are the big name anime. This one is a very underrated anime. It doesn't get a lot of attention as it should because it's got great voice acting, beautiful animation, and the story is really good. Despite the fact some people might point as though the series might be a ripoff of My Hero Academia. But in actuality, it really isn't. It never was. Aside from the fact there's a school setting here, this is a very popular setting. I would say this is more of a ripoff of... I would say this has a similar style premise to that of Rosario plus Vampire. I have more comparisons with that one than My Hero Academia. The only comparison is like, oh, he goes to school and he's got powers, and well, he has a secret to keep everybody else. Okay, yeah, that's the barely thing he has in common with that one. It's more common, like I said, more common with Rosario plus Vampire, except that Aaron doesn't have like 5 or 6 girls in love with him. He has like maybe 2 or 3. You know, 2 are kind of confirmed, basically have feelings for him. Is Armory and Clara implied, anyways. Well, actually, she does. But, like I said, more so with that one than My Hero. Yep. But not much else to say. This episode's really good. So, that's it. Sick of you. Next up, the very next episode. Okay? Next video. Bye.